It's good to see you again. We'll start up with our lesson prep. I put a link in the chat. We're going to start with the 9th excerpt from Rabash, Article 36. For it is your wisdom and understanding in the eyes of the nations in the work. He should tell the nations of the world within him, know that everything you say is true. Reasonably speaking, you are correct, and I have nothing to reply to you. However, we were given the work above reason, that we must believe above reason that you are incorrect. And since the work on faith must be above reason, I thank you very much for your correct arguments that you have brought me. Since it cannot be said that a person goes above reason unless he has reason and intellect, then it can be said that he is going above the intellect. But when there is no reason, it cannot be said that he is going above reason. That is, above reason means that this path is more important than the path within reason. However, when there is no other way to tell him, walk in this path, it cannot be said that he chooses the path of faith above reason. For this reason, precisely through the power of faith above reason, is it possible to defeat the views of the nations of the world within man.
Basalam, Shamati 13, a pomegranate. There is emptiness only in a place where there is no existence, as in the earth hangs on nothing. You find that what is the measure of the filling of the empty place? The answer is according to one's elevation of oneself above reason. This means that the emptiness should be filled with exaltedness, meaning with above reason, and to ask of the Creator to give him that strength. This will mean that all the emptiness was created, meaning it comes to a person to feel this way, that he is empty, only in order to fill it with the Roman moot of the Creator. In other words, one is to take everything above reason. This is the meaning of the verse. God has made it that he will be feared. This means that these thoughts of emptiness come to a person in order for one to have a need to take upon himself faith above reason. And for this, we need to help the Creator. We need help of the Creator. It follows that at that time, one must ask the Creator to give him the power to believe above reason. It turns out that it is precisely then that one needs the Creator to help him, since the exterior mind lets him understand the opposite. Hence, at that time, one has no other choice but to ask the Creator to help him. It is said about this, one's desire overcomes him every day, and were it not for the Creator, he would not overcome it.
Well, Hassalam, Shamati 14. What is the exaltedness of the Creator? The Ramamut, exaltedness, sublimity, of the Creator means that one should ask the Creator for the strength to go above reason. This means that there are two interpretations to the Ramamut of the Creator. One, to not be filled with knowledge, which is intellect, with which one can answer one's questions. Rather, he wants the Creator to answer his questions. It is called Ramamut because all the wisdom comes from above and not from man, meaning that a man can answer his own questions. Anything that one can answer is regarded as answering everything with the external mind. This means that the will to receive understands that it is worthwhile to observe Torah and mitzvot. However, if the above reason compels one to work, it is called against the opinion of the will to receive. The greatness of the Creator means that one becomes needy of the Creator to grant his wishes. Therefore, one One should go above reason. Then one sees that he is empty and becomes needy of the Creator. 2, only the Creator can give him the strength to be able to go above reason. In other words, what the Creator gives is called the Ramimut of the Creator.
Salam Shamati 16. What is the day of the Lord and the night of the Lord in the work? Woe unto you who desire the day of the Lord. Why do you need the day of the Lord? It is darkness and not light. The thing is that those who await the day of the Lord, it means that they are awaiting to be imparted faith above reason. That faith will be strong, as if they see with their eyes, with certainty, that it is so, that the Creator watches over the world in a manner of good and doing good. In other words, they do not want to see how the Creator leads the world as the good who does good, since seeing is contradictory to faith. In other words, faith is precisely where it is against reason. And when one does what is against one's reason, this is called faith above reason. This means that they believe that the guidance of the Creator over the creatures is in a manner of good and doing good. While they do not see it with absolute certainty, they do not say to the Creator, "We want to see the quality of good and doing good as seeing within reason." Rather, they want it to remain in them as faith above reason. But they ask of the Creator to give them such strength that this faith will be strong, as if they see it within reason, that there will be no difference between faith and knowledge in the mind. This is what they, those who want to adhere to the Creator, refer to as the day of the Lord.
Bal Hasalam, Shamati 42. What is the acronym Elul in the work? It is impossible to obtain disclosure before one receives the discernment of Achoraim, posterior, discerned as concealment of the face. And to say that it is as important to him as the disclosure of the face. It means that one should be as glad as though he has already acquired the disclosure of the face. However, one cannot persist and appreciate the concealment like the disclosure, except when one works in bestowal. At that time, one can say, "I do not care what I feel during the work, because what is important to me is that I want to bestow upon the Creator." If the Creator understands that, he will not have more contentment. If I work in the form of Achoraim, I agree.
Salam, Shamati 42. What is the Ahakoraim Elul in the work? When one comes to the state where one has no support, one state becomes black, which is the lowest quality in the upper world. And that becomes the Keter to the lower one, as the Kli of Keter is a vessel of bestowal. The lowest quality in the upper one is Malhut, which has nothing of its own, meaning that she does not have anything. Only in this manner is it called Malhut. It means that if one takes upon himself the kingdom of heaven, which is in a state of not having anything, gladly afterwards it becomes Keter, which is a vessel of bestowal.
Rabash, these candles are sacred. And the most important is the prayer. That is, one must pray to the Creator to help him go above reason, meaning that the work should be with gladness, as though he has already been rewarded with the reason of Kedusha, and what joy he would feel then. Likewise, he should ask the Creator to give him this power so he can go above the reason of the body. In other words, although the body does not agree to this work in order to bestow, he asks the Creator to be able to work with gladness, as is suitable for one who serves a great king. He does not ask the Creator to show the greatness of the Creator, and then he will work gladly. Rather, he wants the Creator to give him joy in the work of above reason. that it will be as important to a person as if he already has reason.
Shamati 96. What is waste of barn and winery in the work? The purpose of the work is in the literal and nature, since in the work he no longer has room to fall lower down, since he is already placed on the ground. This is so because he does not need greatness, because to him it is always like something new. That is, he always works as though he had just begun to work. And he works in the form of accepting the burden of the kingdom of heaven above reason. This basis upon which he built the order of the work was in the lowest manner, and all of it was truly above reason. Only one who is truly naive can be so low as to proceed without any basis on which to establish his faith, literally with no support. Additionally, he accepts this work with great joy, as though he had real knowledge and vision on which to establish the certainty of faith, and to that exact measure of above reason, to that very measure as though he had reason. Hence, if he persists in this way, he can never fail. Rather, he can always be in gladness by believing he is serving a great king. Well, good evening. It is good, so good to be with you. This is the graduate lesson. As many of you know, you are in the Kabbalah University, KabU, and you're in the graduate environment, which has lots of fun goodies for you to do and to continue to work towards understanding what this wisdom is. And this is just one of your classes called the graduate lesson. The graduate lesson is taught by Mike Kellogg. So if this happens to be your first time, welcome, and we're glad to have you with us. This class is a lecture style class. And what makes that different is that this class and its material is based off of Dr. Michael Lightman's or Rav Lightman's on his current daily lessons. So for those of us in the United States, at about 7 p.m. at night, Rav teaches in Israel at about 3 a.m. in the morning, and he teaches to Petah Tikva and all of us online right now. But those lessons are daily, and Mike takes those and helps us sort of break down those lessons and what Rav is teaching us into bite-sized doses so that we can better hopefully feel what is being taught to us and what Rav is trying to convey, not just to Petah Tikva, but what Rav is trying to convey to the world. So we encourage questions. So if you are a person who likes to ask questions, we really want you to do that in this class. When Mike is lecturing, don't hesitate to write your question down, and we ask you to put it in the chat. And then whenever we get to a question and answer time, I'll call upon all the questions in order of names. I am the question moderator and the reader, and I will be happy to call upon you. You can read your question, or if you'd like for me to read it, I'm happy to. And Mike will address those questions then. But we do encourage you to go ahead as soon as you have a question, because you will forget it, write it down. And Mike can, and he often does, see the question in the middle of his lecture and picks it right up and answers it right there for you. So this is always a fun, engaging class, a lot of serious students that have a lot of really deep questions. So I hope you are ready for a fun evening. And Mike, I think we're ready for you to take us there. The engine is running.
Good evening, everybody. Been in meetings all day, so just a little bit hoarse here. I've been going over this incredible, rather remarkable thing called faith above reason. I can remember last Thursday, some reasonably intelligent individual said, "What's the difference between this faith above reason and dementia?" I mean, what you're saying is, okay, my eyes see this, yet I'm accepting something else. Well, first of all, dementia is kind of, you see a second picture. Here you don't. But the second thing is, you're attempting this, you're not doing it. You can't just do it. Nor can I explain what faith really is, because faith is a new sensation. Faith is a sensation that is not felt in this vessel. If you're saying, I felt it, you didn't. It's not in that vessel. It's not in that I felt it vessel. It's not in something that you feel. It's a totally different you, totally brand new you. It's a spiritual you. This is not the same thing. I got to answer this one off the top, right off the bat. David Mancini, why say something that you can't do, that we can't do? You can. But you have to change first. You see, David, the goal is to attain an equivalence of form with the qualities of the Creator. Those meaning the qualities of love. Those meaning the qualities of bestowal. What is that? No, you don't know yet. You have to attain it before you know it, because guess what, David? It's not the love you feel here. It isn't the love you feel toward a friend. It isn't the love you feel toward a parent, toward a pet. No. Toward a child. No. A grandchild. No. A spouse. No. That's not it. We can go through this, you wouldn't believe how many times I have several students that have been with me a long time, and they've learned, don't ask is it this, is it that, is it this, is it that? It's always going to be the same answer. Why? It's not in this reality. And the change that must take place in order to be able to sense, what are you talking about sensing here? Something in this world? Sorry. Why? What is this world? What is this place? What is this reality here? It is only will to receive, period. That's it, nothing else. The achievement here is not an accomplishment of doing something like that. The achievement is a whole new reality. That's what's achieved. Is it the goal? No, the goal is equivalence of form with God. But the result is an entirely separate, brand spanking new reality. That's different. And it's huge. It's more than one can describe. The second part of it is that this happens outside of you. That's a hard one. Now, see, I just saw the perfect example of the normal look in Miranda's eyes when it was like, what? Couldn't be better. Why? Because I exist as a corporeal human being, meaning an imaginary thing. I think it's real. In truth, this whole body that I exist within, and everything that exists out, what I feel is outside of this corporeal body, is all within my thoughts, in my head. It's all made up, and it's projected as if it's outside of me. Is it really outside of me? I mean, we take it for granted. Hey, this is really just me, and all this stuff out here is actually really outside of me. Someone says, no. Here's the thing. I understand what the doctors say. I understand that what we're talking about is that there is a picture inside of me, and that this picture is projected outside of me, and I'm actually sensing the picture. Fine. But just the same as if I'm watching television, and for instance, the other day, being a history buff, I was watching a show on one of the greatest crimes of all time. It was the just horrible assassination of President Kennedy, which is a very, very famous crime. And watching this thing, well, just because I'm watching it on TV or on film doesn't mean it didn't exist, right? It really existed in this world, in this reality. I mean, there's television, yeah, but and in the kind of the same way, I had this picture, and then I'm looking at really what's on the outside of me. Just like I was looking on TV at what was really in Dallas, Texas in 1963 on November the 22nd. No, it's not. You see, what's outside of you is a small part of what creates this picture. It's the main part, but the diversity within the picture, meaning why it's not just all white, why it's not just why it isn't just a canvas, is because whatever you want to call that, light or whatever you want to call it, is actually filtered through your qualities. And poof, a picture appears. So what are you really looking at? Your qualities. Well, now there are some really cool qualities here. I have no problem with that. Like, for instance, I don't know, Mother Teresa and all building of orphanages and all that. But there are some of those qualities out there that couldn't be mine, like Hitler. The abusive people on the planet, right? Those qualities don't exist in me. As a matter of fact, every single thing exists in you. Anything you can sense, anything that from your perspective you're sensing, exists within you. It's all part of something called the ego. This is all part of the I. Now, that is the reality that we have here. If I compare that to a television show that's playing on the television, then starting to sense spirituality would be like changing the channel. Whole different show. Brand spanking new. Everything's new, 100%. In other words, there is no possibility to sense spirituality in corporeality, which is what we all try to do. I bring this up almost every single week at the start of the class for a reason, because you forget. We forget. It's very, very, very difficult to hang on to what we talk about over the week. Why? Last night in the lesson, before Rob's lesson, I was privileged enough to visit with the world a little bit and describing to them about the war that we exist within, the war against the will to receive that's actually causing all this main quality. And what we need to do is not be confused in any way, shape, or form. I could have gone further and said, hey, you know what? This cotton picking thing is really nasty because it infiltrates us. The truth is, it's like a battle that you're fighting, but every single day it sends in reinforcements. It's constantly renewing. And I don't know what it's going to take to defeat it by myself. This is why we have this thing called love thy friend as thyself, and the work within that aspect of this, the Kli, the group, the 10, whatever you want to call it. Now, that said, one of Rob's main things, David, you had asked a question with regard to something that we can't do. You can't do it. It doesn't happen there. Where does it happen? In that vessel, in that Kli that you build. In that vessel for it. Where? In the 10. Listen to me. Whatever you're doing, if you're writing, taking notes, put down your pen, whatever, listen closely. There's no such thing as a one in spirituality. Here's what I'm saying. There's always 10 parts spiritually. There's no item with just one part. There's always 10 pieces to everything. Keter, Chokmah, Bina, Hesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Nitzchot, Yisod, and Malchut. That's called a Partsuf. That is a spiritual entity. Let's compare it to corporeality. You'll understand real quick. I spoke about Miranda a minute ago. As she sits there, she has a heart that's working. She has lungs that are working, guarantee you, have to be. And she has other organs. It's absolute necessity. Her liver, her spleen, All of these different organs must work within her body. No single organ makes up Miranda or you. No such thing. In the same way, in spirituality, if you think of the individual as an organ in that body, you'll begin to understand, because that's the type of connection that we're talking about. Think about what that, for instance, let's go back to the heart. Better yet, the spleen. What does the spleen do? It makes these cool little cells, these little white cells that will go out and destroy any kind of an infection. Well, most kinds anyway. They're really neat. They're the guards, the internal guards of the body, the internal army. They go defeat the germs and the viruses and all that kind of thing when they can. Now, Miranda does not need to have the spleen attacked for the spleen to begin working. You see, the spleen works for the body 100% all the time. The spleen, in truth, feels itself as the body. It's feeling itself as the body from its perspective. So, Miranda's unfortunate enough to, God forbid, go out here and a cold virus enters in to her from some source. Immediately, Miranda's spleen says, whoa, hey, we got a red alert, and starts sending out the white blood cells that are needed to attack that infection. In the same way, by the way, it doesn't stop to sense, oh, I'm doing something outside of me to help something outside of me. No. From its perspective, it's serving itself. In the exact same way, this is, you've heard it over and over again, we exit ourself in order to enter spirituality. Hence the reason everyone here's heard the concept of the 10, right? Hence the reason for the concept of the 10. I'm exiting my individuality into that thing here, that vessel, that kli, that 10. The other 9 in myself. Does it have to be 10? The truth is it doesn't. It does spiritually. There has to be 10. And in fact, for many, many years, it was just 2 things. It was the Kabbalist and the Kabbalist student. And the Kabbalist student would progress to become a Kabbalist, and then he would have students in that, on and on. But, so Rob has described to us many times, with egoism developed the way it is, now it doesn't work that way. In other words, what used to be one part, now there are many parts to it. So what does that mean? That means that what I have to consider when we're talking about the 10 is the others that are within my 10 as making up the body. And my relation is toward the body, the whole body, not to each organ, but the whole body as a unit, as a thing. It becomes where the revelation of the Creator occurs. Why? What can we say about the revelation? We can say that it basically is like the glue or like the container that holds everything together here. The Creator is what makes us one, the connection between us. You see, when you think about the spleen, Miranda's spleen loves her heart and lungs and everything else. in her. In other words, it's part of her. In other words, there's a connection there that's my buddy. It's literally felt as me. That's what we're attempting to achieve. That's called ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love thy friend as thyself. When you develop that kind of connection, that means I'm having to serve, or in my mind, the importance, let's put it differently, the importance of the body is more important than the organ's self-importance, importance toward itself. It feels the importance of that body as being much more important. Now, I want you all to stop and think for a minute. Imagine, by the way, this law is called the law of Arvut, or the law of connection, or love thy friend as thyself. It has a lot of names, and it also has a lot of levels to it. I want you to imagine for a moment your neighborhood operating like this. Not just you with 9 other people, but your entire neighborhood operating under such conditions, working for the others, making sure the other has every possible thing that it needs. Imagine for a minute that your city operates under that type of circumstance. Do you remember me saying earlier about how the things that are going on, and I know that some of you are international. I see a wonderful student that I talked to last week here, and I just found out that she's from, was it New Guinea? Is that what I saw? Oh, no, yeah, Papua New Guinea. Wow, that's always away. But in America, anyone that knows, that has a television or radio has seen what's going on in this country. If the law of Arvut, the law of love thy friend as thyself, operated here, you know what? Those protesters are exactly right. We wouldn't need a police force. When do you need one? When you don't have the law of Arvut. Now you better have policemen. Make it to where everyone loves thy friend as thyself, and all of a sudden, there's no reason for it. There's no reason for that. There's no reason to worry about medical care, is there? You're going to get served. Why? Because the ones that would serve someone being ill, they serve them as if it's them, whereas if it's their child, you can look at it that way even. Think about all the systems that we have that force something to occur, like force a certain behavior. All of a sudden, all these things aren't necessary. Why? Because we're responsible for each other. You don't need it. What you're seeing is you're seeing everything is moving toward that, where, keep reading from David, how can we be sure we're building the 10 correctly? You don't have an option in the deal. And first of all, I will guarantee you won't build it correctly. And you'll have to change it, and then you'll have to change this and change that and modify and do what it takes in order to make that 10 perfect. Well, just give me the straight dope and let, no. There's nothing, no one so wise as the experienced. We have to do this ourselves. That's everything. David, if you look at any of the people here that are closer to my age, like Richard or Willie, they will tell you experience has taught them more than anything on the planet. Because if you do something and get it right, you may just have been lucky, but if you get it wrong, you learned what's wrong, didn't you? The hard way. Yeah, experience is quite a teacher. And we need that. We need it very much. And it's demanded of us to make our efforts. And we won't do it right. David, I promise you, you won't do it right. Guaranteed. And guess what? The Creator will fix it. That's the good news. You will discover later that no matter what you do, you can't do it right. And you will become needy of a solution. Just like a body that needs a form of healing. Well, the Creator's a great healer. No worries about that. It can heal that body too, meaning a spiritual body. Now, understand, this is this is the Creator's business. What do I mean? The Creator has no business with the individual. The Creator kicks into gear. See, we always want to think of the Creator as being someone that's going to do something for us, right? Especially in religions, you see it all the time. What we learn is that the Creator relates through this principle called love thy friend as thyself. Any prayer for myself, it has to be on the same wavelength as the Creator, on the same frequency, meaning the same quality. And there's no for myself in the Creator. Uh-oh, now we got a problem, don't we? So what kind of prayer is the Creator going to respond to? A combined prayer by those that are attempting to put that thing called the Partsuf together, the pieces together, Humpty Dumpty, whatever you want to call it, boils down to the same thing. All the organs coming together to make up something called a Partsuf, a spiritual entity. And guess what? Every single organ senses from it and senses something entirely different. Now we're talking about the sensation of spirituality, a new reality. That thing, and by the way, they want to know what that thing's called, that tin? It's called David. Yep. It's also called Jerry. It's called Tim and Miranda, Willie, even Richard. More questions before we get into?
Yep, we've got one from, I think is it Jehodin? Did I say it right? Close. All right.
No. I want to hear her say it.
Okay.
Say it again. Your name?
Jehadin.
Jehadin. Yeah. So go ahead and Jehadin, go ahead and ask your question, because I think it was a follow-up to something Mike was talking about, because you asked the question why. So go ahead and ask it.
Yeah, he said something like, you cannot reveal spirituality in the corporeal worlds. That's why my question was in relation to that. Thank you.
Yeah, she says, why can't we experience spirituality in the corporeal world, Mike?
Mm-hmm. Because spirituality doesn't have to do with egoism. It only has to do with bestowal. Look, spirituality is a different reality. This entire reality is based on the will to receive. Everything here is based upon the will to receive, 100%. And even that takes a long time to figure out that it's that way. I mean, a long time. A person can just assume it, and that's fine, but you're going to have to reveal it later anyway. What? You're going to have to reveal your nature. Why? Because if you don't, you won't know what needs to be changed. A person is born as a wild ass's colt and no sensation of it. In other words, they are born complete, total, one thing, will to receive. And absolutely no sensation that that's what they are. What do I mean? I don't mean that they want tea or that they want something to eat. I mean that they simply want fulfillment. What kind? Any kind, all the time. The clothings don't matter. There's a lot of clothings. They all usually boil down to food, sleep, sex, family, money, honor, control, power, and knowledge, and health. So they all boil down to roughly the same thing in one form or another. But guess what? Spirituality isn't based on any kind of will to receive in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, That's only the little bitty teeny weeny corporeal will to receive. Take all you want because it's not even a sin. When do you start revealing the true will to receive that you have to overcome? The minute you start trying to connect together in this way that I just talked to David about. The moment that you begin to start trying to make the other more important than you, make them the one and you the zero, make the body, this body that now you perceive it as outside of you, not inside of you. So it fits perfect. You see, that's the whole reason for the projection of everything outside of you. So you have something to work with it. You don't feel it as you. Yes, Simon. We define spirituality as the science of perception. Why? It already is you guys, that 10. In fact, a lot more is you too, but you can't handle all of it at once. You just can't. It's too much data. You have to do this a little at a time, something you can actually work with. And so what does that start with? It starts with the 10. This is the easiest way to do this. The shortest route to where you actually can begin to perceive something spiritual. It's when I begin to try to make that effort for the other to become me. In other words, for me to exist in the thoughts, desires, and aspirations of others. When I become an organ within a body that I actually perceive right now as being outside of me, and guess what? It won't stay that way. And then when it is not, there is an entirely different perception, not even similar to this one. It's a different world. It's a different reality with different senses. And a lot of them, 613 of them, whole bunch of senses. So that is what we are after. Tiffany, do we have, Beth, I see in the writings here, I don't see the excerpts. Cool.
All right, good. We're on Rabash, Article 22. So for everybody, if you want to get in, if you want to jump in on this document with us, we're on number 6, Rabash, Article 22. And for our new people, just so you know, if you have questions out there, hang on. We'll come back to a Q&A time, and I'm jotting those down, and we'll call on you. So no worries. We kind of take a few and read, take a few and read. So all right, here we go. Feston, I think you're ready to roll, huh? I'll go ahead and start reading.
I hope so.
Here we go. Rabash, Article 22, the whole of the Torah is one holy name. Any overcoming in the work is called walking in the work of the Creator, since each penny joins into a great amount. That is, all the times we overcome accumulate to a certain measure required to become a kli for the reception of the abundance. Overcoming means taking a part of a vessel of reception and adding it to the vessel of bestowal. It is like the masak, the screen, which we must put on the avut, the thickness or will to receive. It follows that if one has no will to receive, one has nothing on which to place a masak. For this reason, when the evil inclination brings us foreign thoughts, this is the time to take these thoughts and raise them above reason. This is something one can do with everything one's soul desires. He should not say that now he has received rejection from the work. Rather, he should say that he was given thoughts and desires from above so as to have room to admit them into Kedusha, holiness.
You're muted, Mike.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Vesna. And so, yeah, she's been waiting to pounce on me. It's been weeks. I asked Carl about this the other day in class, wanted him to open it a little bit more, especially with regard to the group, and so I could use his explanation. And it worked out beautifully. He did. I don't know if you have that somewhere, Beth. Did you put that in? What my question with regard to Tzimtzum Masak and Or Hoser?
No, but I'll grab it.
Okay, super. Very interesting in that what is being restricted You've heard of this term, Simsum, or restriction. We have to make a restriction. And that way, then we have to gain a masak, right? What is this restriction? This restriction you can think of as how I restrict my own importance to the importance of the vessel outside of me, the 10. The group, the 10, whatever. I'm restricting anything with regard to spirituality, with regard to Mike, to what's important to these 80 students in front of me. That's what I want to restrict. That this is the most important thing on the planet right now. And then the masach is the level of intention that I have towards serving that body outside of me. That is a restriction and a screen. Now, it sounds almost like a mental thing or a psychological piece of work. It isn't. It's very, very real. And one finds that they can't really make that restriction. They can't really make what's outside of them more important than their self, as much as they try. What's required? A prayer. And that's all. Let's see if I got this. Can you just, where do you want? I guess you can't put it on the screen, can you? Because I would like this explanation. It's beautiful. Can you then perhaps put it in the chat and we can read it? Or can you just read it?
If you wait longer, I could put it in a slide and share it, but I can also just read it. That's cool.
Yeah, just read it for right now. We'll talk about it and then you can put it in a slide too.
Okay. The question is that with regard to faith above reason, there are several unnatural acts happening. Simtsum, masak, or choser. What is restricted and from where does the masak come? Okay, simtsum, restriction, masach, or choser, all these things we acquire from the connection between us. How can I build such a thing? Simtsum, a restriction, that means that the importance of the society and the importance of connection is more than myself. Meaning my personal life is zero compared to my connection in the group. That is the meaning of restriction. That is the practical meaning. If I reach such a state that the group is more important to me than myself, I can restrict myself. Screen.
Now let's wait on the screen. We'll talk about that just for a minute. So what are we talking about? What is a restriction? It's when I'm making something other than myself more important than me. The group, the 10, the 3 people in front of me, the 80 people in front of me, whatever it may be, that it becomes more important than I am. But understanding that and it really being that way are something totally, completely different. They aren't the same thing. So, Rav, what was his answer? That's not exactly what we're talking about now, but I'll tell you. And then he makes a remark about she put in the chat here, about I used to ask him questions in Hebrew all the time, and I stopped, and all of a sudden now I'm getting whack, because I'm not asking in Hebrew anymore. This thing called Simsum, it only has to do with vessels of bestowal. What am I talking about? It only has to do with vessels of spirituality. Once again, what's that? It only has to do with you. It doesn't have to do with anything, anybody, anywhere whose goal is not the attainment of equivalence of form with God. In other words, it doesn't have to do with right now the attainment of equivalence of form with someone outside of me whose goal is money or power or any other will to receive. This only has to do with making that individual whose goal is equivalence of form or the attainment of spirituality, the attainment of the attitude of the Creator toward other individuals. Because that's what we're really trying to attain. To make that their attitude. That's called equivalence of form. So the real part of this is how important spirituality truly is to me. How great do I consider it? How sublime do I consider this goal? Without that, it isn't going to matter. I can't possibly, it doesn't matter. Willie can have the greatest goal on the planet. He can be huge, all about just the attainment of spirituality, day and night, all the time. If it isn't something important to me, I don't care. Right? So Willie feels that way. But if it is something I hold in high esteem and I see Willie's incredible goal for it, which I do, no question it's there, then I'm able to connect with Willie, actually to make his spirituality more important than mine. He has what is needed. He has the start of it. By the way, it will come down. Why? The will to receive will take over. Why? That's that army I was talking about last night. Those reinforcements that march in every single morning and jump on you and take it. So what I have to do is I have to use all my power every single day, and all the power of my friends too, and from the lesson and everything else, in order to be able to turn my focus back on to Willie, to make his goal more important than any goal I have for myself. It's incredibly hard. I mean, I can sit here and say it's that way, but that doesn't make it so. That doesn't make it real. What would it be like if it was real? There wouldn't be any effort to it. It would just be that way. All of a sudden, my own personal goals become something quite unimportant compared to Willie's goal. All of a sudden, reception is not my major thing anymore. What I'm able to get out here and what I'm able to, all these things that used to be important to me, they aren't what's important. What's important? The vessel, the clee, the tin, whatever you want to call it. You all. That's what becomes important to me. So how do you make that real? Here's the problem. So help David. That requires a miracle. And for all of you guys that have been with me a while, you've heard before, good thing God's in the miracle business, huh? Because guess what? That's exactly where we get it. Now we understand what we pray for. When is it not egoistic? When I am wanting the Creator to change me in such a manner that I care more about Willie's goals than my own. And finally, I only care about Willie's goals, period. And yours, David. Next, Masach.
Screen Masach, is even more than that. It's when my work in the group that I hand myself out to the group and I do whatever they want without any calculation about myself, only above myself. And in practice, I carry out the desire of the group. That's called the Masach. Or Hosea.
Wait, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Again, read it again.
Screen. Masach is even more than that. It's when my work in the group that I hand myself, I think it's supposed to say over to the group.
It is.
And I do, it's not, and I do whatever they want without any calculation about myself, only above myself. And in practice, I carry out the desire of the group. That's called the Masach.
And Pharaoh, immediately, the moment that you begin to contemplate this in any way, shape, or form in the least amount, Pharaoh raises his ugly head and says, oh, wait just one blasted minute. What are you thinking? What mean you by this work? What's in this for me? Who will take care of me if I take care of everybody else? What in the world am I going to, what are we going to do about me? As you can see, I loved it when David put that in the chat just a minute ago. You know why? Because it's honest, and there isn't a soul on the planet that's getting ready to go through this process that doesn't have the same question. And if you don't worry, you will. Just haven't gotten there yet. That's what you're up against. You see, Pharaoh, this, hey, what about me? Hey, no. You work for me, pal, not for anyone else. You see, Pharaoh is the I. It is you. Yeah. That's who we work for. And Pharaoh takes all the treasure. Pharaoh takes everything. Masach. Oh boy. That isn't just making Willie the most important thing now. I'm no longer working for Pharaoh. I'm no longer Pharaoh's slave. Willie, I'm coming to stay at your place. What do you need? Day and night. That's what we're doing spiritually. So the truth is, the answer to your question, David, is who will take care of you if you only take care of everyone else? Willie. And Ronaldo. And Richard. And Tim. Miranda. Maybe even Jerry. Everybody. You see, arvut, if I translate it properly, it means mutual guarantee. It goes like this. Only when Israel all became responsible for each other did they deserve the Torah, the light that reforms, the light that binds them into a single vessel. It isn't just one person taking care of everybody. It's everybody taking care of everybody. Tiff, please. Questions?
Yeah, we've got several, so I want to honor those that asked a bit earlier. If you've asked more than one question, we let others that have not asked go first, and then we come back to yours. So don't be offended if it feels like we skipped over you. John, and it looks like FL, so I'm thinking Florida. John from Florida, maybe, or John, do you want to ask your question, or do you want me to? I'll go ahead. All right. He says, the spiritual 10 components required to revealing the Creator, are they connected to a specific combination of corporeal individuals? If yes, how do we know which ones? If not, who unites these individuals, the Creator, the individuals, or the society?
We're thinking of people. Start thinking of points in the heart. instead. Souls. What is the soul? I've taught you this and taught you this and taught you this. For you new people, listen. Listen closely. What do we learn in the 4 phases of direct light? That the Creator's intention was to bring contentment to his creatures. But there wasn't a creature. So what does he do? The light comes and builds a vessel. Light comes and builds a vessel. A desire to receive, a will to receive. What? Pleasure, contentment, fulfillment. It begins to enjoy and enjoy and enjoy, and then all of a sudden it hits it. It says, wait a minute. I don't want to do this. I don't want to just receive. I want to relate to the giver. I want to receive, but I want to be able to relate to the giver and enjoy the giver. Something's giving this to me. I'm not doing it. It isn't just appearing out of nowhere. Something's providing it to me. And so what happens? It doesn't have the ability to bestow back, to be like daddy, to be like mama. So what does it do? It does the next best thing. It just doesn't receive at all. So it becomes more like the Creator, right? No, it starts suffering. Why? It's a will to receive. It's not its nature. Its nature is to receive. The Creator's the will to bestow. This is not working out at all. And so it starts thinking, oh my gosh, this isn't working. I am now not doing what I'm supposed to do, and the Creator's not doing what it's supposed to do. This is lousy. What do I do? What if I use my nature, which is to receive, but only under the express condition I'm doing it with the intention to bestow? In other words, I'm doing it because that's what will bring contentment to God. In other words, what's my intention? Oh, I'm adding something new here, an intention. What is it? It's what I am intending the final outcome to be. And so what do I want to do? What's my intention? My intention is to please God. Okay, how do I do that? Do I give him a new car, a new house, $50 bill? What do I do to please God? Oh, I have to receive. It's the only way I can please the Creator is to receive. Okay, I will receive, but I'll receive only because that will enable the Creator to feel contentment. And that's exactly what it does. It receives only in order to bestow to the Creator. Oh man, that causes all sorts of problems now. Why? Because now it feels what it's like to be the giver. It feels the greatness of being a giver, the greatness of being like the Creator, making action like the Creator. Why? Because, see, it bestowed to the Creator. It bestowed its reception. It bestowed its receiving so that the Creator could enjoy. Now it has 2 desires in it. It loved that sensation. Now it wants that sensation again, and it wants the original pleasure. But that sensation is not a pleasure the Creator put into it. It's a brand new pleasure. It's a brand new desire, as if it didn't come from the Creator at all. Why? Because it's the result of the vessel trying to be like the Creator, not the original pleasure the Creator put in it. So what's going to happen now? Oh boy, what do we have? We have a desire, 2 desires. One's for the original pleasure, and the other's to be like the Creator. Friends, that desire to be like the Creator part, that individual part, not the part that the Creator developed out of itself, the will to receive. It carved off a piece of itself and then separated it, meaning as the separation is a change in qualities further and further distant until it became a will to receive. No. This isn't a piece of the Creator. That's a piece of the Creator. What's this? An intention. This is the desire to be like the Creator. Totally different vessel. It has a different name too. It's called neshama, soul. In fact, this thing that's constantly after food, sleep, sex, family, money, honor, control, power, knowledge, health, that we call Mike, Miranda, Willie, Dot, Angela, Annette, Tiff, Jerry, everybody. That's the will to receive. It's not the real you. That's Pharaoh. That's the piece of the creator that was carved off and separated into the will to receive. It's not you. What's the real you? Asleep. You sense it, and you're sensing it as you. It is not you. So what do we have here? We have, all of a sudden, oh my, the thing that's wanting, like it isn't, I want the tea, it's that Pharaoh wants the tea. The will to receive wants the tea. Or whatever Fanny's drinking. I don't want to know, Fanny, don't tell us. You know, if you want your scotch, you drink your scotch, okay? It's fine. Anyway, she's young, she can handle it. That liver, it's a young liver, it'll be fine. This thing that we call the desire to be like the creator starts out as a desire for something that we don't understand what it is. It isn't for food, sleep, sex, family, money, honor, control, power, knowledge. None of you came here to get that, right? If you did, you're disappointed. You came here for something else. What? I don't know. What did I come here for? I don't know. What one slowly begins to understand is that there's a fulfillment that can't be fulfilled with the desires in the will to receive. This is a desire for something outside of the will to receive. It happens to be inside it, the will to receive at the moment. This is the point in the heart. This is the real you, the real Ronaldo, the real Richard, the real Alex, the real John, Tammy. Hi, Tammy. So this real you, this desire to become like the creator, that it starts as we go along here. If the will to receive doesn't jump it and destroy it, and then you see people run off. Why? Well, the will to receive says, no, we have to go make money. Instead of fulfilling this thing, this new desire that has to be slowly caressed and developed. And what is this thing called B'nai Baruch, or this giant organization that we have here? It's like a womb that begins to develop this